So these are the four tracks that we train, whether they're students at a school environment, a CTE program, or whether they're an apprentice or a helper or somebody in a body shop operation. We teach them these four different tracks, and people can gravitate toward one or the other. The basic skills is basically a blend between a body tech role and a painter role, kind of blended together, covering the 6 most critical skills that a new job entrant can have to provide value to the shop within the first 90 days. They got to be able to do these skills or they're not going to be valued by the shop. Then there's the body tech program, which takes them from basically knowing nothing all the way through to about a B-level technician, all in one program in 12 to 18 months. The paint skills program is very similar, but again, in a different domain, going from zero to hero as a painter. Likely in this program, they would be fully capable of running the paint department in a small to medium-sized body shop, likely a second painter in a larger operation where they have multiple painters or sprayers. The damage appraisal role is interesting in that it actually has 2 roles combined. The skill sets required for a damage appraiser for an insurance company and the skills for being a successful estimator or repair planner are very similar in probably about 60 to 80% of their skills. And then they branch off into 2 different categories that are specific if you're going insurance side or if you're going to shop side. They get into production management, blueprinting jobs, things of that nature. The roles that we have focused on throughout our apprenticeship program has been having a trainer, and that's the mentor that works with the apprentice on the job. They're the ones that teach the hands-on skills. We have always had an advocate involved in that environment also to help monitor the learning environment, to make sure that it's conducive to learning. We're not burning people out. Make sure they're giving these apprentices enough time to learn new tasks. Help work with the trainer to be able to make sure that relationship is maintained with each of those apprentices. The newest role we have is that of a training manager, and that's the role we're focusing on mostly today. And it's not about being a teacher. It's not about sitting in front of a classroom, though in a classroom environment, the teacher is the training manager. But in a shop environment, the training manager doesn't need to be the one that teaches all of the skills. They're about the process, they're about managing the people and their progress through each of the skill sets. So the training manager and the advocate work together to moderate the pace of learning, to make sure it's not going too fast, or if it's too slow, they moderate that to make sure it works well. The manager and the trainer work together to coach how skills can be transferred better. Maybe the trainer is a different learning style than the trainee, the apprentice. All of this, all 3 of these roles work together to develop those skills in the trainee so that shops have that benefit of having a skilled person working on each of the cars in the shop. So this is the relationships of each of those roles. In our program, there is no single track. We've had apprentices that came into our program, even in the earlier years of the highly managed program, where they came in with some skills already. They were already on the job as an assistant estimator for at least a year to a year and a half. Well, we assessed those skills, and those skills they already had and demonstrated, they were able to skip those after demonstrating those skills that they could already do. So that allows the program to be compressed a little bit more. Each of the programs and each of the courses that we introduced early are actually modular in nature, and so it allows you to pick and choose those items that are necessary for this apprentice to be successful. The outcomes cannot be different. The skill sets that are required are what they are. The industry needs what they need. That doesn't change. But the curriculum can be modified in order to allow somebody that already has some skills to progress through a little bit quicker. We begin each of the programs with a boot camp. So each of the apprentices goes into a 6-week program like this one is laid out and helps them kind of get a feel for how a shop actually operates. Maybe they've never stepped foot in a shop before. This helps them learn 6 different jobs by shadowing those positions 1 a week for 6 weeks. And they spend half their day shadowing a position. and they spend the other half of the day working with their intended trainer in the program. So they learn a lot about it. We have the trainers also go through their own boot camp, not about technical skills, but it's about how to be a good trainer. How do you mentor somebody? How do you motivate them? And so we take them through a different set of curricula that helps them understand how to better do that, where they can learn how to demonstrate how to do a skill without insulting somebody or making them run out of the shop screaming. These are things we need to help them learn how to do. Most technicians were not ever taught how to teach what they know, and they don't even remember when they didn't know what they know. So it's hard for them to relate sometimes to a new apprentice coming in. Once they've had an apprentice for a while, or maybe they've had helpers in the past, those are likely the best candidates for becoming a great trainer. We have a new course that's designed for training managers. We call it a boot camp as well. But again, it's not about skills. It's not even about training. It is focused on how do you manage a training program? How do you handle 15 or 30 or 50 apprentices, all at different stages of their learning? Maybe they're broken down into groups or cohorts. So how do you manage that? Are there tools in our learning management system that can help you identify where somebody's falling behind? Where are they demonstrating some lack of persistence in the process? And so we take you through that kind of a course. To help the trainers and the apprentices, we've developed these two workbooks which help the trainees know exactly what to do, what comes next, how to look at each of the skills. Each of these workbooks, this one happens to be the instructor guide. This teaches the instructors or the trainers how to teach each of the skills if they're not familiar with how they would ever teach what they know. So this helps them break that down. The apprentice workbook is on the left side, and this is what the instructor guide looks like. And when I say instructor, that can be an instructor in a school program, or it could be a trainer as a mentor in a shop operation. So we give them a few notes about what this means. Be sure to look out for this. Don't forget to promote that. And this is a way, these skills posters are a way for each of the apprentices to track each of the skill sets they're going in. And this is just one of the 5 courses that technicians go through. So we take them through and they're able to see, here's the safety concerns we have on this task. Here's the tools and materials you're going to need. And here's the process you're going to go through. And then on the instructor's guide, it shows them how to use each of these aspects. We show a lot of pictures of what things are supposed to look like. We provide the SOP. This is what this would look like. We always encourage that if there's a manufacturer's SOP for how to do a procedure, we always follow those first. But in absence of those, follow the one that we provide, and it makes it very simple. We embed QR codes to each of the digital videos that they can open with their cell phone just by taking a snapshot of the QR code. It opens the training video on how to follow this process. 6 to 8 minute video that shows them how to do it. They can pause it, go through that aspect. In the instructor guide, we provide this additional support, which is how each of those assignments might look from an apprentice or a student submitting those. These are typically flipped on their side, so you have one per page, but I oriented them this way to make it easier to see in our presentation today. There's sample assignments, what it would look like. Technicians and painters and estimators need to put repair plans together. They consider what's the level of damage here. They need to analyze it. What are the tools and materials needed to follow the repair process? And what are the tasks and in what order should I do them? And they get that approved by their trainer, and then they go and follow their plan. Once they're done, the trainer grades them a 3, 2, 1. Very simple. 3 is, that was great. That was a good job. You followed your plan, executed it well, worked out just fine. A 2 might be something as simple as you had 1 or 2 minor fixable flaws, but in otherwise it was still good. A 1 would be unsatisfactory, one that maybe they had more than 3 or 4 flaws in it. Maybe at least one of those was a fatal flaw where you'd have to undo everything that they had done before they could correct the problem. So these are all provided in samples of how that would look. what the monthly activity cycle looks like for a trainer is pretty much demonstrated in this circular model right here. So there's a process of analytics and statistics that are available through the learning management system where they can quickly identify who's struggling, who's having issues, what are the issues they're having, and they can pull these stats in a matter of moments. So they go through and pull that information, and then they come up with a learning plan, a quick one. We provide a lesson plan for each of these meetings they're going to have for each module. However, the important aspect is, how am I going to adapt where these apprentices currently are with a learning plan for them and make it unique and help them succeed better? So you might predetermine some of the good and bad examples of what was submitted in the last 2 weeks. Look for opportunities to coach them how to do this better. And then when you have that online meeting twice a month with them, then what you do is you're going to review some of those items live in real time, but you've already previewed them when you're preparing for that meeting. Share with them some of the tips and tricks that you've learned over time, and then preview what's coming up next and help them kind of learn to go through this cycle. This is a routine that they will get used to and you will get used to rather quickly. The starting point is, we'd like each training manager to go through the boot camp that we have. Well, they'll develop some additional skills on how to pull these reports, how to use the curriculum to help you do your aspect of managing apprenticeships better. And then we offer a mentoring program where we will be your mentor. We will help you learn how to do this better. We'll be side by side with you as you become a new training manager. And maybe you're having difficulties. You got somebody, I'm right here, and I'll be your mentor through this program. A time commitment could be anything from minimal. If you handled 15 apprentices and maybe those were broken in group sizes of maybe 6 people in each one, that's about 3 cohorts. That's about 40 hours a month, not a week. And that's about 5 meetings a month, not a week. That's 1 meeting a week or a little over. So this kind of give you an idea on what the time commitment would be.